What's going on, guys? Matt Manduk here, and this is another rental car review. It's a 2020 Chrysler Pacifica minivan. Now, there's a lot of people that think the Pacifica is not a minivan, but if you don't think that's a minivan from looking at it, then you have a problem. I only have this for 2 days, but because I try to do reviews of almost all the cars, or all the cars. The last car I had was a convertible Camaro, and I didn't do a review of it because the only difference from that and the convertible Camaro review that I did was it was white. But this, like I said, I only had it for a couple days, and I got it because I needed something to move all the shit from my semi-truck to my mom's house, because I'm switching companies, and so the semi-truck to semi-truck, there's a week in between. I needed something big enough to put all the stuff in. The outside of this thing, well, if we go down to the key fob's pretty cut and dry. There's a panic button because they all have that, but there's also buttons for remotely opening the sliding doors and remotely opening the hatch. It also has a remote start and lock and unlock. Nothing else fancy about it, but there's no key that pops out because it is a push button. I don't know what that is stuck on it, but I don't think it's from my pocket. So in any case, the doors, you can double click and it'll open them, power, which dogs seem to really enjoy because they don't understand it. But also, if you pull on the handle, it just does the power thing. It's not made for you to do any of that. And the hatch is the same thing. As if you hit the handle, it opens it on its own, or if you hit the remote, it closes it on its own. And yes, I still have some stuff in there, but not terribly much. Now Casper is interested in what's going on here. The car, and we're gonna open it up here. The seats were already folded down when I got it, and I'm guessing that's because whoever had it before me used it for the same thing as what I'm using it for. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and open. It's fairly simple to set the seats up. I'm not gonna set all the seats up, but I think the weird thing is where the seat goes could be used for storage. I probably will take that floor mat out, but like, it doesn't fasten. Maybe it does, and I'm just missing things. I haven't played with all this stuff because until earlier, this was full of like everything I own. But cool things in this car is these side door windows actually do go partially down, which is sort of cool. Even though I don't think you're going to use it too often, it's sort of cool because, well, that's a big window and it would kind of suck. And then it's nice if you have a dog in here or something, he can actually stick his head out of the rear window. The backs of the seats have like hooks where you can hang plastic bags, and you have a door pocket in the back. Oh, wow. There's a whole dog in here, Casper. The console is kind of weird. There is cup holders, I guess, for the back seat here. There's cup holders for because it's a 3-row seat, so there's cup holders for the 3rd row in the back there on the doors. The sound system in here is pretty nice. It does have a rear 12-volt outlet, which is kind of cool, but I would think that's standard these days. It has individual lighting for each seat, which is nice. There is a decent amount of headroom to sit in the back seat, which is kind of nice. But the back seats are, well, fairly basic for what they are. They got a button to close the door, which, no, stay away from the door. Fingers and toes inside, mister. And they have shades that you can pull up and hook on these windows, which that's again kind of a two-hand thing, but as you can see, the one on the driver's side is up, which that thing being separate means you can have the window down and still have the shade. But the front seat is mostly like the feature of this vehicle, and that's what I'm most familiar with. So hold on a second, let me hop up there. All right, so from the driver's seat, there's quite a bit going on here. And a lot of the stuff I don't need to start the vehicle for, so I'm not going to yet. Start with the steering wheel, cruise control settings. There's 3 empty spots. I assume that's for active cruise control, but this vehicle doesn't have it. Phone controls, and these are all menu controls for the screen there. Now, I think that screen is relatively low tech, but it is still better than the Jeep, and Jeep is made by the same company as this Pacifica. It's all a Fiat Chrysler thing. Headlights are automatic. They're not HID on this model, but I'm sure you can get HID headlights on this if you want them. Otherwise, you know, all that stuff's pretty cut and dry. If you don't know what that stuff is, then you've never driven a vehicle. I'm not sure what these are. And apparently I have to start it. Power side mirrors, auto up and down windows, and I have to start it to put the rear window down, and then 3 garage door opener buttons. Overhead, that's everything that is on the key fob. Sunglass compartment. A fisheye mirror so that you can see what's going on in the back seat, which I find fairly interesting. But that's good for, you know, if you got kids in the back. And then the rear view mirror that has a fairly decent, like, you can see a fair amount of stuff. And yes, my phone is blocking a lot of it, but, you know, you can see a decent amount out of the back window, which makes the rear view halfway reasonable. But then it is also a power mirror, and what this does is that when somebody has their high beams on behind you, it dims the mirror for you, which is like we used to do it with a tab, but now it's power for really no reason. The controls here, the shifter knob being it's a dial that you turn, that's awkward. Yeah, bulldog lips. That's awkward, and I really don't like it, but like it could have been on the steering wheel, but it's not, so it is what it is. The controls for the air conditioning system, and the weird thing about this is they have physical controls for the air conditioning system and the audio, but all that stuff's also built into the electronic system on the touchscreen. So, like, why do it twice? Because you don't need to control it. Like, you can't control it unless the vehicle's on anyhow, so, like, it don't make sense. The console is awkward, because, to my knowledge, the console doesn't open, but it's this big thing that, like, the cup holders in it, oh, maybe this area opens? It acts like it. No, it doesn't open. It's got the cup holder, it's got cup holders that tuck into it, and it's got cup holders in the front of it. And then it's got a weird, like, well, I got change in it, but, you know, it's got this weird thing here. It is all rubberized, which is kind of cool for stuff not sliding around, but it ain't going to be cool for getting dog hair out of it, because there's dog hair everywhere in here. This is, well, hey, that's not my stuff, but I just got myself a new e-cig battery. A pair, apparently. And there's some Clorox wipes in it. I'll leave that. People might use it, but it is what it is. There is an odd pocket here that I don't know what you would use that for, and there's another odd pocket here that, again, I don't know what you would use that for, but there's a USB and auxiliary, because you might need that stuff at some point. On the floor, yes, that's a mosquito, Casper. There's a USB down here, and also a 12-volt outlet. And then there's this weird pocket here where you can put garbage. Well, not that I would actually put garbage there. Get your head out of the way. And then behind here, which is like from here, there's that, which is a tunnel that you could also put useless trash that you don't need. There is a glove box that I've never opened. It's not very impressive in size, but what do you usually put in there? Other than that, I mean, yes, you get mirrors in your visors. It doesn't have an extending visor, and I think they should, because sometimes you need that area because it's just as detrimental as anything else. That is a clip to hold papers and stuff. The mirrors are of decent size and makes them fairly usable. They're comparable to the Silverado that I'm parked next to, which is nice. It does have blind spot sensors, which I actually needed on the way here because I had this thing full of stuff, because it's everything I own. So like, it was nice to have something I could trust. Then I'm going to start it. I can't actually start it because my dog is in front of the brake pedal. And there's a mosquito in here that's driving me nuts. And as you can see the system that you will probably spend most of your time looking at. Cruise control allows you to set as low as 20 mile an hour, which, sorry about the radio, lets you set to 20 miles an hour, which is useful for like school zones and different stuff. And I wish it could go lower, because I don't understand why cars can't just set at whatever speed you want. You can set it as high as you want, but you can't go as low. If you wanted to do 2 mile an hour, it won't let you set there, which I think is kind of stupid, and I never understood that really, because it's just RPMs that you're holding in different gears. But in any case, you got this menu, and I haven't actually tried to use it, but press OK. Change between kilometers. It gives you all your gauges. Current MPG, trip. Does it give you? It says it does 24.9 miles per gallon, and it has almost 7,400 miles on it. I don't know, because I haven't gotten fuel in it yet, and the gas gauge is on this side. Like, that's the dots that fill it up, and that's the temperature on the other side. It's an awkward system. I wouldn't say that it's the most intuitive or the most reasonable, and I don't understand why car companies have this menu where you can do, oh, well, that's a different trip. Like, it's not total odometer. And it gives you a range on there. It tells you what time it is. I mean, it is what it is. I haven't used any of that stuff. And then it says it's not ready to drive. It does have a media option, but I don't understand why they have this system that has all that stuff, but that system is not tied into this system. Like, why can't I use the menu controls that are on the steering wheel to change the climate control? And then you don't need to have it here, and you can have the touch button so your passenger can mess with it, but you don't need to have it here and there anyway. None of that makes sense to me. But on the back of the steering wheel, they do have buttons to change tracks, and on the other side, they have volume controls, which, okay, so you have it on the steering wheel, and you have a knob, and you can do it on the touch screen. Like, come on, Fiat, how many places do you need to change the volume? But nobody in the back seat can mess with it. And then also your turn signals, which are pretty cut and dry, and your wipers, which, I mean, they are what they are. The system here, and like I said, I don't understand why they have it for both, but the Bluetooth system sucks, the whole Uconnect thing, and it's the same problem that they have with the Jeep, which is you have to reconnect your phone every time you start the car. GM, Ford, Nissan, Toyota, Subaru, none of them have this problem. Like, you get in the car and you have the Bluetooth on your phone, the car automatically connects to your Bluetooth. But for whatever reason, Chrysler makes you go into the system, you go into media, you select source, you hit Bluetooth, and it connects. But you have to do that every time you start the car, which is retarded. And again, you have climate control options, and having, well, this thing has heated seats and a heated steering wheel, and you can turn that stuff on high and low or off, and same thing with the steering wheel. And I did turn the stuff on, but there's no reason to use it. The only place you can access that is in this control. So you don't have a button for it down here, but it's in there. But everything else, well, almost everything else you have buttons for, and there's some stuff you have buttons for that you can't access here, like turning the auto start feature off. If you don't have climate control on, this thing will shut itself off every time it's idling and then restart when you hit the fuel. I'm not against that because a lot of other cars do it, and this thing is disposable. Like, by the time you pay it off, you'll be getting another one. But, well, the dog hair looks worse on video than it really is. But yeah, so it's not stuff that you necessarily need. This is like a parking alarm that you can turn off, and you can turn your traction control off. There's nowhere else in the car where you had those controls either. That, like, it's not intuitive in here at all, and that's weird because in a minivan you need it to be intuitive because you're hauling kids around. Generally, that's what you get this for. I mean, it's not what I got it for, because I needed a truck, or I needed a van for the most part, and this did work for that. But you know, it's got features, and it still won't let you connect your Bluetooth unless you're stopped. So if you forget to do that stuff, you can't then put it in drive. And like, if you forget to connect your phone, you'll have to pull over to connect your phone, and otherwise you got a radio, and it can have XM, but I mean, that's still radio, and the whole idea is garbage. It's garbage. But that's Chrysler. Chrysler has always sucked at this stuff, and now that they merged with Fiat, it hasn't gotten any better. The armrests, I thought these were kind of cool because there was a little bit of thought process to it. They're floppy, right? You can put them as far down as you want, but there's a button on the side where you can lock it, and that's as far down as it goes. And then when you put it up and you go down again, it's locked at that point. So that's where you like it. So it'll always go to where you like it, which I thought that was kind of cool. Not a bad idea. It's not like high tech or anything, but it's not a bad idea. This is power seat positions that, like, I hit 2 and it moves it, like, they're just memories. I don't know how to set the memory, so I have no idea, and it's a rental car. I'm not bothering to set a way that I like the seat to be in the rental car when I adjust it to how it is, and it just stays that way. And I'm only going to have it until tomorrow morning. But in any case, I think that's everything. Casper's taking a nap in front of me, which is like the worst place to do that. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you want to check out my other rental car reviews, you're going to have to go to my channel, because I'm not going to do all the work of uploading it and linking all that stuff. But thanks for watching. I wouldn't do this without you. I'll see you, my friends, in my next video.